So create a deadline for yourself, create that timeline and stick to it. McCord RE/MAX Realty Center, and today I'm going to give you a handful of tips for first-time home buyers. So as we approach the winter months here, sellers are actively preparing their homes for sales in the spring. So that means they're doing all the necessary things to put their house on the market, get it listed, sold fast, and for top dollar. So if they're preparing to sell the house, I think it's time for you to prepare yourself to buy one. So first things first, credit. It is important because your credit score is going to be one of the deciding factors on what your interest rate on your mortgage is going to be. The rule of thumb is the higher the credit, the lower the interest rate. So get that bad boy as high as you possibly can. If you're having issues with credit, you might want to speak with a credit repair specialist to help get your credit score as high as possible. The next tip that I got for you is save as much money as you possibly can. So you're buying a house. Houses are not cheap. There are expenses and there are things, not just down payment that everybody talks about, but there are also closing costs. So make sure that you have enough money to purchase a house. So save as much money as you can. A lot of times this means that there are going to be sacrifices. So if you are let me run by Starbucks and grab a coffee and a pastry in the morning, and that's, $7. It might be in your best interest to save the $7, brew your coffee at home, and make the sacrifice for the greater good. The next tip that I'm going to give you is to have a timeline for when you would like to buy your house. So most people work a lot more efficiently and effectively if they have a deadline. So if you know that you want to buy a house by April 15th, then that gives you a little more added incentive to stay on the course and do the things necessary to buy the house. So create a deadline for yourself, create that timeline and stick to it. Once you have that time frame figured out, the next thing we're going to do is get pre-approved. The thing to keep in mind with the pre-approval is there is a time frame on which that pre-approval will expire. So you have to make sure that that time frame fits within your window. If it does expire, it's not really a big deal. You just have to contact the lender. They might ask for some updated paperwork just to make sure that everything's on the up and up with jobs and things like that, and making sure that you haven't done anything nuts like already bought appliances for the house that you haven't purchased yet. Don't do that. Even if you are outside of that time frame, just updated paperwork is usually all they need, and they can get that pre-approval letter updated and back to you with a new expiration date on it. And this last tip is probably the biggest one to save you a lot of frustration. Please wait until after you've been pre-approved to start touring properties. You don't want to get your hopes up and really fall in love with the place and then realize you can't afford it. So get pre-approved before you go house hunting. And that's it. That's what I got for you today. My tips for home buyers. If this is your first time watching the video, make sure you subscribe down below. Click on that notification bell so that you get alerted every time I drop a new video. If you're a first-time home buyer and you have no idea what the process entails, make sure you reach out to me.